Okay, that's an interesting one. Well, there will be a lot of vulnerabilities coming our way. It's not the last one we've seen. As far as it's made by man, it will be broken somewhere. Somebody will find another one and another one, etc. It's always interesting to look at vulnerabilities. You learn a lot by looking at vulnerabilities, but focusing on the threat itself. Why should we bother about this one? What does it mean? What kind of actions can be carried out with that vulnerability is more like you will be able to countermeasure new vulnerabilities if you took care of that threat, right? So same vulnerability again, or different type of vulnerability, we're using the same type of threat, and if you take care about the threat, then that's way more effective. But it's fun looking at vulnerabilities. It's hard to work as a single person in this type of world. So I have a lot of colleagues. I have a whole team. Luckily, we are interested in different things, different parts of this. So we try to keep each other's informed. We try to update each other. So if I figure out something new, I just push an update, an email or something, or we make sure that we have a gathering or something that we keep ourselves updated. And so it's good to build a network, a community, or just try to share information with everybody else. The security world, security professionals, they are way more open than they ever been before, so that's a good thing. So try to approach people over like social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. There are a lot of information sharing, so just to keep yourself updated. I don't know, just building, but yeah, we do build things and we do help customers investigating a lot of things. For me personally, troubleshooting has always been something really nice and really fun to work with. So investigations, investing time and trying to figure out what's going on, what's happened, and then when you do that, you will automatically be figuring out new methods, maybe building some new tools. We didn't thought about this before. So more complicated scenarios where we try to do investigations, that's where I find it most fun. But I've built many different systems or helped customer build security systems as well. The one that is actually still in use, we built an air gap transport system for transporting sensitive information between classified and non-classified environment. Back in 2005, 2006, that was built with Windows 2003, before the days of 2008 and the simplicity with IPsec rules, etc. It's actually still in use. Luckily, it's in a very well-locked environment with no internet access, etc. So a lot of vulnerabilities, I guess, nowadays in those systems. But so yeah, some assignments are more challenging than the others, and for me, the more challenging, the more fun. Well, I see there is a natural process, and you start looking at more challenging things. Like I would classify them as more interesting, though. So I guess the next thing is bringing in discussions that try to make the gap a little bit smaller between tech processes and management processes. That's something I've been working with for quite a number of years now. So trying to speak to management people and then trying to speak to tech people and trying to bring them together, because that where we start to see things happening. A lot of techie things we can implement, but if the management is not with us, supporting and with all the different means, both monetarily and other aspects, it's not going to fly. There are a lot of factors playing into that, like we have regulations going on. GDPR is a big thing, for instance, and this is another big thing. So that makes management understand that, hey, these techie details, the thing that we need to protect, now if we don't do that, it's going to cost us money. So we better invest that money into protecting ourselves. So that's a good driver. They should be there without that driver, but that's the way life is, right? Both of them are equally interesting. There is, like, if you're more of an adventure guy seeking like those kicks, whatever it could be, the red team is a nice experience, because that where the challenge is there, you need to accomplish things, you need to be really careful. At the same time, the blue team, that's a different set of or type of challenge. It's more of a long term rather than the red team is maybe like you're climbing a mountain or something like that, and you're done. This assignment is finished. But the blue team is the long term. What should we do? Experience accumulated, etc. So different sets of excitements. And if you look for the more maybe the explosive ones is the red team, the more long-term going is the blue team. So I do both. I do have times where I step in and support our red team. I act as the second line or third line support quite often. We can do this way, that way, and it's a lot of fun. It's not every time you can execute code on a system because of vulnerability. We speak often about different attack vectors. So an attack vector is like either an exposed system on the internet, for instance, then you can probably find the vulnerability if that exists and execute code on it directly. Another attack vector is the physical. You approach a system physically, you're on premises, you're touching the network, working with the network. Another attack vector is the client we're speaking about during the sessions today. So you manage to execute something on a client or physical access to a client, which will be spoken about as well. And unless you have that access to the client over a network or physically, you need somebody to work with you, giving you that access. So that's where the social engineering part jumps into this. And there are different types of. One social engineering activity could actually give you the information right away. You don't need to execute code at all. You can convince somebody to send you that information, which is quite interesting. We know that this have happened and still happening. And the other one is to tell somebody, hey, could you please run this on your machine because we're really needing this or something like that. That's a different story though. As human beings, I believe that we tend to try to make life easier for each other. So if somebody is really having a hard time, we try to work with them and, okay, that person is asking me for a favor or something I can do for him. And it looks like, hey, he's in trouble or something like that. So just to make sure his life is not getting any worse, I can just like click there, download that and do this. So it's the more the compassionate part of us, like human beings, that jumps into there, and in some cases making it worse for us.
Okay.
We believe we're doing something good, but yeah. Be very confident. Whatever you do, be very confident. That's part of the game. So you just step in. If anybody approaches you or question your presence there, it's just like acting like an authority, trying to be that authority, trying to tell them, hey, Dave, step off. This is none of your business. There is an important thing going on, or I don't have the time, or something like that. Often, if you don't want to be that guy, throwing people like sideways, being busy with something, like you're calling somebody, you're holding a suitcase and something like that, and then just, oh, sorry, I'm on phone and don't have the time. I'm heading to that conference room or something like that. So they will often let you go unless they are well trained to spot that type of activities. So theoretical information is good, but a piece of more practical information, give them that practical experience with things. Let them experience what it is all about without bringing in penalties in the picture. So tell them, hey, we're going to perform this activity, we're going to send you an email, let's see, what do you believe about this email? Maybe with or without pre-announcements. So let them be part of that process, let them experience the process themselves. I guess that will bring, it's not just a theoretical thing, it's not a theoretical risk. We're describing for them, it's something really there, it's physically there, they will be encountering, they will be seeing it for themselves. I do really believe in that. Just bring in whatever you want to protect against, showcase that for your users. Telling them this is possible. Well, a lot of other things are possible. Nothing happens most of the times, but Well, I don't know if specifically German companies, but I would say any enterprise, any companies at all, any people working with IT, you will be targeted simply because you have IT systems. If there is nothing useful in those IT systems for the hackers, that those IT systems will be used as a component in larger attacks. We see that very clearly. Another thing is that ransomware targeting companies is something coming on a really broader scale. I just experienced an attack with a customer as much as 1 month ago. They called us every single computer that was online, servers and clients, were ransomware. They had to pay, or so basically the attacker, they actively deleted their index copies of the backup system. They targeted that machine was gone, it was formatted, all the drives, all the volumes were gone. So the thing that saved them, they had the backup copies of their domain controllers that was ranging 2 months from the accident or incident, and then we started restoring this. So they had to restore every single server. They had to rebuild every single workstation. So just because you don't have secret information is not enough. You need to start bothering about that, because there is an industry, there is a lot of business going on with ransomware activities, just to give you an example of that. So they are not out for information in your systems, they are out for money. You can pay them to get your systems restored quickly. Well, awareness is a very important thing. So once again, I would go back to there and start to emphasize on trying to put more awareness, make sure the users, make sure whomever gets access to the information, because admins are important, but the users who are on their day by day like job access important information, they need to understand what type of importance is there. So awareness for those guys, and arranging whatever it takes for them to understand the importance of the information they got hold of.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And yeah, enjoy the day.